Before the sun rises over central Mexico, Teotihuacan looks less like a ruin than a message. Two immense pyramids, a straight ceremonial avenue, and a city laid out with startling order still ask the same question. Who planned this place and why? Long before the Aztecs gave it the name Teotihuacan, the city had already become ancient. By the time later cultures found it, its builders were gone, leaving behind scale, symmetry, and silence. That silence is part of the fascination. In a place this vast, every wall and stairway seems to suggest intention, as if the city was designed to mirror something above the earth. Supporters of the city of the gods theory point to that precision first. The main avenue runs with unusual alignment, and the entire complex feels more like a cosmic diagram than a random settlement. The scale is hard to absorb until you stand near it. The pyramid of the sun rises from the plain with a mass that still feels almost impossible to imagine moving by hand. And then there are the stones themselves. Layer after layer, the city shows planning, labor, and knowledge that make many people wonder whether the builders were guided by something more than local tradition. The mystery deepens because Teotihuacan was not a small ceremonial center. It was a metropolis, one of the largest in the ancient world, built with a level of organization that still invites debate. Archaeologists have uncovered apartments, murals, workshops, and evidence of a diverse population. Yet the city's original name, its rulers, and the full meaning of its design remain frustratingly incomplete. That absence matters because mystery grows where records do not survive. Without a clear founding story, later generations filled the gap with sacred language and the idea of a place where gods had once gathered. In Mesoamerican tradition, Teotihuacan became the birthplace of the sun and moon, a place of transformation so powerful that it was remembered as more than a city. It was a threshold. That sacred memory is where the extraordinary interpretation begins. If the site was already understood as a place of divine origin, some ask whether that memory preserved something older than myth. The city's geometry is one of the strongest reasons people keep returning to the question. Its orientation appears linked to the sky, the landscape, and perhaps to celestial events that mattered to its builders. That kind of alignment is not unique in ancient America, but here it feels especially deliberate. The avenue, the pyramids, and the surrounding mountains seem to participate in one larger pattern. Some researchers and enthusiasts also focus on the city's engineering. Massive fill, layered construction, and careful stone placement suggest a society that understood large-scale building at a very high level. From there, the speculation widens. If this knowledge appeared so fully at Teotihuacan, did it develop locally over generations, or was it inherited from an older source now lost to history? That question becomes more compelling when you look at the city's murals and symbols. Birds, stars, storms, and ritual imagery create a world where the sky is never far from the ground. Supporters of the city of the gods idea see those images as clues, not decoration. They argue that Teotihuacan may have encoded a memory of contact, guidance, or revelation from above. The strongest case is not a single object, but the combination of features that keeps repeating: scale, alignment, symbolism, and a civilization that seems to arrive already knowing too much. That is why the site continues to attract people who suspect the ancient world held contacts we have not yet fully understood. Teotihuacan feels like a place where memory and architecture point in the same direction. Still, a grounded reading remains possible. A powerful city can produce impressive order without any outside intervention, especially when generations of builders refine a shared sacred plan. Sceptics also note that sacred architecture often stretches toward the heavens by design. A sky-aligned city can reflect religion, politics, and astronomy at once, without requiring anything more exotic. And yet the explanation does not fully dissolve the feeling the place gives off. Teotihuacan still stands as a civilization that rose, flourished, and vanished before its own story was written down. That vanishing is one of the hardest parts to ignore. When a city this sophisticated leaves behind so little direct testimony, every surviving stone becomes a kind of witness. The unanswered questions gather around the same center. Why this exact layout? Why this immense effort, and why did later cultures feel compelled to call it the place where gods were made? Even the name Teotihuacan, though later than the city itself, captures the power of the idea. It preserves the sense that something sacred happened here long before modern archaeology arrived. That is why the city continues to sit at the edge of history and imagination. It can be read as a masterpiece of human civilization and still feel like a place built to answer the sky. If the builders were only human, they were human at a level that still astonishes. If they were preserving something older, the traces are subtle enough to keep the question alive. Perhaps that is the real power of Teotihuacan. It does not shout its secret, it endures, asking us to decide whether order, myth, and memory can ever be fully separated. For some, the answer will always be that the city preserves a forgotten encounter with the heavens. For others, it stands as one of humanity's most remarkable achievements, complete in its own right. But the deeper question remains untouched. Why did this place inspire such enduring certainty that it belonged to the gods? Until that is fully understood, Teotihuacan will keep its hold on the imagination. And maybe that is fitting. Some places are not solved so much as revisited, each generation finding new reasons to look up and wonder what stood above the builders of the city. Teotihuacan remains one of them, a city of stone, geometry, and unanswered memory. Whether it was a temple to the gods or a map of something beyond our reach, the silence still speaks.